Hello and welcome to Recyclist. I'm your host, Eric Provost, and today I have the great privilege of being joined by a couple guests, as a matter of fact. So please help me welcome to the show right now, Wilton McVoitte, the Scientific Projects Coordinator for Clearwater Farms, and Susan Doyle, the CEO of the Clearwater Futures Foundation. Thank you guys so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
I want to go ahead and jump right into it. We've got a representative from the Clearwater Farms aspect of the project with Wilton. We have the, of course, CEO, like I just said, of the Clearwater Futures Foundation. So let's start talking about what you guys are. Wilton, if you could kind of kick things off for us here, what is Clearwater Farms and what do you guys do up there?
So we're a non-profit organization, a farm as well. So we twin both. The gist of how we started is that we're by a lake, and we are a regenerative farm that helps to protect the lake. So any of the projects that we undergo at the farm is all in a bid to make sure that the lake is protected, and that's Lake Simcoe here in Ontario, Canada.
Yeah, beautiful Canada up there. And Susan, the Clearwater Futures Foundation, as a matter of fact, recently rebranded as the Clearwater Futures Foundation, correct?
That is correct. So, formerly, we were the Ontario Water Centre. And as Wilton just described, being nestled right here on a lake up in Ontario, felt the need to be able to protect and regenerate the lake as well as the land around it, the watershed around it, if you will. But in our work over the last 14 years, our mandate grew from a local spot on a farm in Lake Simcoe to a global mandate in ecological innovation, water stewardship. We work on environmental leadership development. We have eco-educational research, and we have nature-based learning opportunities that have grown significantly. So we took the leap and we rebranded the organization in 2025 as the Clearwater Futures Foundation to better represent our reach and our impact now going forward.
So, when you guys started as the Ontario Water Center, what was the thought process behind the startup of that?
It was really focused around the health of our water systems up here in Ontario. We have the blessing of the Great Lakes and all the watersheds affiliated with that. And we knew the lake that we were housed on, if you will, and we had the great responsibility of stewarding that land, was very unhealthy. And our lake, needed lots of help. So the original mandate of the Ontario Water Centre was to look at our direct impact on Lake Simcoe, but also how it connects to all the other Great Lakes and watersheds in the region. And we had been doing a fair amount of advocacy work and were successful with some government advocacy to have some investments in programs to help bring healthy practices, I will say, back to the lake. And we did that for several years. And as Wilton described, at the same time, we were growing our regenerative farming practices, which were a bit niche, I would say, at the time. Now we're seeing more and more regenerative farming practices, of course, throughout Ontario, throughout Canada, North America, if you will. But at the time, it was a bit novel. And that was the original idea. And as I said, we've grown our impact and our mandate since then, and that's why we've stretched.
As the Scientific Projects Coordinator, Wilton, maybe you can expand a little bit on what Susan was just talking about when it comes to regenerative farming. For those out there who might not be familiar with the concept or a little confused, could you help expand on that, please?
So, in terms of how farming is traditionally done, it's done with fertilizers, it's done on a large scape of land. And regenerative agriculture is trying to get the natural biology that already exists in our environment to thrive while we farm. So, if you think about a greenhouse environment, we're allowing the natural microbes that already exist to flourish while we're farming. So, a lot of compost is used instead of using um, fertilizers as an alternative. We use the compost to ensure that those microbes that theme in the soil and allow the plants to grow will also grow. And if you think about how our landscape is externally, we want even birds, worms, all kind of biology that exists naturally in the environment to thrive while we are farming. So that's kind of the gist of how we're doing it. And especially with the water conservation side of stuff, we're ensuring that we're using any natural sources of water that we use. We're also protecting those water sources. So that's kind of a gist of how regenerative farming is involved.
So the idea of regenerative farming isn't just about the soil. You guys are taking into account the second, third, fourth order effects of the worms, the birds, like you said. Like how could you possibly affect the biosphere, the ecology around you guys just through soil management?
So that's mainly through composting. So the compost itself naturally has like the orders of microorganisms that we need
Hmm.
to allow both the microbes to thrive, and then the microbes give the plants the nutrients that they need to grow.
I don't know how much you guys can speak to this, but I am curious. Like, how do you know how many different like species of worms and birds? Like, how expansive the um the ecosystem up there is that you guys are talking about?
So if you're thinking about the microbes alone, the things that we can't see, there are like millions of different species, and then we're considering even if we're going up to things that we can see now, like fungus and worms. That's even much in a much ordinate numbers as well.
That's insane to me.
Yeah, I would add too, and Wilton's brilliant at understanding the science impact on how the land and the water is healthy as we farm those lands. But another component as well is our riparian areas and water pathways that we've created on the 30-acre property that connects us to the lake. So we have created habitats on the property as well. We have lots of wild animals that come to visit us all year round on the property that feels safe, and they feed into the full cycle of making sure the land and the water is healthy, and we are giving back to that land as much as we're taking off of it.
So how much of the 30 acres do you guys use for actual farming practices?
We farm, we create yields off of about 10 of those acres, and 20 of those acres right now are used either for some of our science projects, if you could
Hmm.
put that in a box, and some of it is used for our education purposes, and we can get into what we do on the farm that way, as well as just open spaces for walking natural environments, if you will.
And through the foundation, how closely do the two hands kind of speak to each other? How much does the foundation itself help source resources to assist with the farm, or do you guys maintain relatively separate workloads?
I would say significant hands involved in the operations of the farm. We call it our signature project. It's something we're very proud of. We build our farm is really built as our hub for the work that we do. A lot of the work that we do at the foundation can be seen virtually with a global mandate, but we call the farm our kind of heart. It's the hub, it's where we get to touch and live with the land and demonstrate all the incredible work of the foundation.
Nice. And I definitely want to get into some of the more interesting and fun things that you guys have going on at the farms. I love a lot of the scope, the breadth of activities that you guys get to get into over there. But I am definitely curious about the foundation. Obviously, you just said that the farm itself is your signature project, but with this recent rebranding of the foundation, what is kind of your big push now? You say you're moving to toward a more global scale. What's your primary initiative, kind of going forward with the foundation right now?
Yeah, thanks for asking that, Eric. It's an important question. So we have the land-based hands-on activities of the farm, and our
Hmm.
global mandate was introduced through Future Chicken. So Future Chicken is actually an online platform you
I
can
can't wait
find.
to talk about this.
Yeah, Future Chicken and our team of Planet Protectors is available on YouTube and on Roblox. She's also available on some streaming networks up here in Canada, like CBC Gem. But we're
To all of our
doing
listeners out there, she's not kidding. It's on Roblox. Yes, that kids game that your kids are always bothering you about.
It is on there. Go check her out. But Future Chicken, it's a really a quick, interesting story. We had children, as we do, up at the farm learning about land based practices. And at the time, we had chickens on the property, and we often pose questions to children to help guide our future work. We say we're led by children. So all of the activities, all of the projects, if you will, that we create as a foundation actually come from the minds of children. And we take adult concepts and apply to how to implement them. So that's who we are as a foundation fundamentally. And how Future Chicken came to be was on the farm. We were asking questions of the children on what would the future look like? How would you know that it would be healthy? And we had a young child with one of our chickens on the property say, well, wouldn't it be cool if chicken could go to the future and tell us what it's like in the future? And we could make sure back here in present day on this farm, we're doing the things we need to do to make sure the future is healthy. Birthed the idea of our Future Chicken. So Future is a time traveling chicken online from 2050 who comes back to present day and has lots of guest speakers, people that are great advocates for the environment, teaching really responsible but really concrete ways children can get involved now in environmental practices that we know are going to impact our future. So check out Future Chicken.
Yeah, definitely check out Future Chicken. I mean, that's an endeavor. That's something that you don't just decide you're going to do and have a quick turnaround. That is a very involved type of project. So, uh, obviously, a lot of farms and a lot of nonprofit organizations don't necessarily have the in-house assets to start doing high production value animation. So, what was the thought process behind? Okay, this is something we really want to do. How did you guys go about creating Future Chicken?
I'll start with we have an incredible board of directors. So the foundation is governed by a volunteer board of directors and is led by our founder, Annabelle Slate, who is the creator of Owl Magazine and Owl TV, which is a significant children's brand up here in Canada, a magazine and multimedia stream. So through her vision, of course, we were able to create the right partners to develop a protocol, if you will, for future and some shorts for YouTube. And what we didn't know we were jumping into at the time was a love of this idea and a market, quite honestly, that was not tapped into. We deal with up here eco anxiety is one of our mental health suits for children that we've been combating, and we stumbled, if you will, across this idea of a child on how to start to address wanting to be motivated, wanting to be involved in environmental practices that was not doomsday messaging. It's all very positive messaging. So we were fortunate enough to have the right visionaries at our board table with the right partners wanting to be involved, and other foundations willing, quite honestly, to make the partnership investment to get Future Chicken off the ground.
And I love that you guys are taking so many cues from the youth because kids don't even realize just how unique of a filter, unique of a perspective that they see the world through, and they can ask, even if they don't even realize it, they can ask those weird and interesting questions that adults really just could never conceive of.
Absolutely. I love that you stated that. We were actually at an engagement event yesterday evening with Future Chicken and a local school. So, school age children between kindergarten and grade 5. So, as young as 5 years old, up to about 10, 11 years old. and we were engaging with children, and it was to one, it's an education opportunity about some of the environmental aspects of Future Chicken, but also to hear direct feedback. As I mentioned, a part of our mandate is to always take cues from our children, from our youth about future activities. And we were able to ask those questions around what is resonating right now about Future Chicken. And it boiled up conversations, as you described, where children don't have the same filter, they don't have the same limitations that adults have. So when they dream up of how to make the environment, how to make our world a better place, it comes down to very tangible, very concrete actions that children can take. And then we translate that into ways that they can see that emanated in areas that they enjoy. Roblox. We make it come up through Roblox Flame, or on a YouTube short, or on a Instagram post, if you will. But it's landing in a way. We hope our goal is children can see that they can practically do some of these things, and it doesn't have to be big and large and doomsday. It can be very tangible, practical things.
And what have you guys? What's the scope of what you've created through Future Chicken right now? In terms of, like, how many YouTube shorts you've created, how many products, how many episodes of Future Chicken have you created so far?
Oh, we're in the hundreds. So there's lots of content to be available and millions of views. So in a very short period of time, Future Chicken is just over a year old. Our uptake has stretched beyond Ontario, beyond North America. It has a global platform. We've also done projects in Cameroons, in the Philippines, and in India in one short year, of how much traction she has picked up and how much interest she is garnering on a global scale.
So I imagine this is going to be an initiative that you guys continue to take advantage of in the future. Are there any concrete plans as to how to expand Future Chicken into even more markets or with more types of content, or are you guys continuing down the road that has worked so well for you up to now?
We are continuing to expand, so absolutely. We are looking at publications now, creating a network of publications that would complement her videos, as well as we're in development right now for a short series that would be translated into like television short series for Future Chicken.
Oh, very nice. That'd be interesting. Would this be coming to like a streaming platform like Netflix or something, or do you guys really are you guys sticking with like YouTube?
No, we're hoping to land on a streaming platform that hasn't been solidified yet, but that is
Fair
definitely
enough.
the goal and the ambitions.
I really enjoy that because that's within the waste and energy and the agricultural market. A lot of it is getting into the weeds and the science of it, and there doesn't often seem to be a lot of room for the more colorful aspects to really show off how interesting and kind of wondrous a lot of the aspects of what you guys do can be. So I really love that initiative, and I highly recommend that the listeners go ahead and again check out Future Chicken, check out all those hundreds of videos that are up and available now. Very much looking forward to seeing what that brand has for the future. I mean, who knows, maybe in a few years you guys will have to rebrand to the Future Chicken Company and you'll be a multi-billion-dollar media conglomerate.
Well, who knows? Let's put that energy out there in the universe.
Well, I am very much looking forward to continuing this conversation, which we will do so in the next episode of Recyclist. So, to all of our listeners, make sure to stay tuned for part 2 of my conversation with Susan Doyle and Wilton McVoitte in the very next episode. But before you go, do me a favor, a personal favor, if you would. Make sure to check out Diamond Scientific, the company that makes Recyclist possible. You can check them out online at diamondsci.com. That's diamondsci.com, or just by calling 321-223-7500. You can set up a personalized presentation and see everything that Diamond Scientific could potentially do for you. My name is Eric Provost, and we will see you back here next week for another brand new episode of Recyclist. Thank you.